We have honorable camera.
Thank you. We'll have the video. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. McBride. Mr. McBride, I'm going to start with the 6th of July, seeing as this whole thing started after what happened there. In your opinion, straightforward, brief, what do you think the reason is for General Konazi having the press briefing on the 6th of July?
It was intimidation to the constitutional order.
I'm going to jump around a little bit, so I'll come back to it again.
Yeah.
You describe in repeated instances political interference. Since yesterday, you've spoken about political interference quite a bit. Specifically in terms of Minister Nhleku's tenure, can you identify the most serious instance of political interference and the impact that it had on IPID's operational independence?
Well, what it did, the first one is suspending us and activating a situation where the main investigators, the people who deal with the complex investigations, are hollowed out and more pliable people are put in place. And that was happening all over. The fact that in 2015, a year before we were charged for the rendition matter, a complaint was laid by a person we never knew or met, saying that his supervisor that's in Tlemeza told him that the minister said you must open the case. That is interference. The minister can't call the shots on who opens cases against who. Then he does it against the SARS guys, and he does it against the IPID guys at the same time. And also at the same time, Sibia, Dramat, and Maluleke are also getting charged. So everybody starts appearing together in 2016.
Thank you, Mr. McBride. Did you, at that stage, I know you have spoken about Parliament a little bit, but did you at that stage report any of this interference to Parliament or any other oversight body?
I can't remember specifically, and I can't remember what our recourse was, but our recourse was to go to court. But whenever I had an occasion, I would report stuff to Parliament. And as far as I remember, Parliament did nothing. In fact, the parliamentarians who should have stood up for it to hold the executive to account basically were co-opted and assimilated by Nhleku's agenda.
My next question was, what was the response? But you've given that already. A central element to this whole inquiry process of this ad hoc committee is to investigate executive overreach.
Yeah.
Both you and General Masemola has now testified to political interference in operational matters of both IPID and SAPS. Why do you think this is, and do DGs actually give control of their departments, have control of the departments, or have they in some cases become puppets of the executive?
Very often they are somehow beholden. And I mean, on one occasion, on one of my ministers, I was threatened with suspension over something innocuous, but the power that the person had, and to use the word, someone audacity to actually say it to me and threaten me for that is just shocking. We're supposed to be in a constitutional democracy, yet you can threaten people. And the abuse in the system, I'm sure some people in this house will know about the abuse. involved in the suspension and disciplinary processes that take place if you disagree with the part of the executive. It happens. Some people here were DJs themselves.
Thank you, Mr. McBride. I want to come back to the 6th of July. After that, when Mr. Nkabindi came to Parliament, he described his relationship with General Konazi as being really close friends. How would you? He also indicated that they went on a boys' weekend together. That they visited. They visited several people at that stage. How would you describe their relationship?
Well, I would say the relationship is a private matter between them and consenting adults. I cannot have a comment about that. And if they went willingly to wherever they went to, I would say that's none of my business.
Thank you. I want to come back to Parliament regarding your experience and what you've shared with us so far. Let's call it the weaponization of the investigative process. What lessons, one or two lessons, do you think Parliament can draw from your experience?
The most important lesson is always hear the other side and look for the reasonable explanation. Don't follow the whispers and the wedge drivers and the unscrutinized information is given, because the question should always be, what is this person's intention? What do they hope to gain by coming with this here? And then use your own mind and your own mandate to hold the executive to account to do that.
In the article that you spoke of earlier today that you were writing that you didn't complete, you said it would have been to the benefit of members of Parliament. How close are you to Honourable Adams? The picture, I received it several times today. Several MPs sent it to me as well. Want to understand that, because he is very much central to this, and I'm going to sketch the scenario, it's simply a conspiracy or theory. If you look at it from the outside and you look at the so-called factions that seem to be in conflict with each other, and I'm using the word faction for lack of a better description, you've got General Sabia, General Khan, General Moodley, and to a certain extent, not yourself in this conflict, but you sound positive regarding General Sabia, for example. And then you've got the other side of General Konazi, General Kumalo, etc. And now there's this picture of Honourable Adams meeting with you during this time. You can think for yourself what conclusions come to mind. What was the discussion there? Share more with us.
Well, I had a discussion with him about the view that people of mixed race, especially those of Khoi descent, should keep viewing themselves as African rather than a smaller enclave. So that's where we kind of differ. His approach as well, the mixed race people have been marginalized, in his words, from all sides. So they need to stand up for themselves and get organized. So that is part of the discussion. Also about experiences with police corruption. That's what attracted me to him, his determination to fight police corruption, because I would dare say that Adams, like honorable member who brought the so-called cell phone records, both live in townships which are racked by violence and seem to have been forgotten, and all have suffered tragedies very close to them about the drug issue and gang issue. And it seems that that is not being attended to sufficiently. So I don't get involved in party politics, but I do understand when people make a point and the point is valid. And I will put aside my political differences or orientations with them and give them my ear. People who feel marginalized and uncared for will not participate in the democratic processes. And that means they continue to be marginalized because they no longer have a say. So those were those matters which we discussed. So that's my view always. Do not de-Africanize yourself.
And regarding any of the classified information, I can probably, I can already assume the answer, but did you have any role in sharing some of the information that he's been making public and sharing a lot of it, which is classified?
Which information, sir? Sorry, I'm not clear.
No, I think that answers it to me, the fact that you asked that. Almost a lot of the information that has been made public by him regarding crime intelligence especially was classified. And many people have been trying to determine where that came from. He at one stage said that in an interview with BizNews that it was given to him by members of the South African Police Service. And then after that, it changed to having been pushed under his door. So still trying to determine where it came from.
No, I've got no clue about it. I have no idea about what the issues he's dealing with or anything like that.
100%.
I haven't even asked him about it.
I've got 2 or 3 more questions which are more policy related.
Yeah.
The first one is based on your tenure at IPID. What are the 3, can be less or more, most serious structural weaknesses with regards to SAPS and IPID relations that, in your opinion, enable political intelligence interference?
So there is, in terms of the law, a consultative forum which must be established between SAPS or SAPS members and IPID and basically civilian secretariat. I think in section 6, you invite people to look at making cohesive policy. So that's the idea. So you use a forum. The only time that forum was established and functioned was a launch while I was there, like sort of a few weeks before I got suspended. And that should play a role in, I think there's even legislation about framework of intercooperation agreement where you can set up fora to deal with issues more in a structured way, more methodically, before they become too big to deal with, before they become crisis. So that's what I would say. So there's no reason why the criminal justice system or security cluster can't engage properly on certain issues. For example, the issue of vetting people, doing lifestyle audits. So within our service, the only people who can call the counterintelligence forum is SSA's counterintelligence. So we can then task people like to look at, for example, someone mentioned, if you don't trust a person or you're suspicious about a person, whether it's Paul O'Sullivan or anyone else, you task members to have a look and they come back and check, yes, there is or there's nothing. So it can only be tasked from that committee. But that committee doesn't sit. People are scared to dig because they don't know what they will come. And that stuff, most of it is available. It's available. It's open source. All of this is open source.
Are you at the moment aware of any members in the security cluster that are in possession of interception or surveillance equipment illegally? And if so, who are they and who authorized it?
So whilst I was at the state security, they invited us to a function, a meeting. It was General Peter Jacobs. They invited General Sitole and a lot of the senior members of us. They invited people from Justice. And when we arrived at the meeting, there were documents put before us that we were supposed to sign. And basically those documents was giving approval for possession of interception equipment. And I suspected it was basically giving the approval through that forum, which is not a correct forum, for an already obtained interception piece of equipment. And when I raised the issue with the General Jacobs that I can't sign this, you giving us a fait accompli. And then the acting director general was Jafta. He also said the same. We can't sign this. We don't know what you bought, what you got. And it can't be an open policy. Each thing has to be judged on its own. So we need presentations. What do you want? It can't be just we give once approval, because you need justice and the relevant department, in this case, crime intelligence, to have a certificate of exemption from justice from ourselves. And usually it's the ministers that sign it. So the fact that officials who had to sign it, to me, indicated. And so I asked General Jacobs, so tell me, do you have it already? And you want us to just rubber stamp? And I didn't get a negative. And the way in which we were put together was all of a sudden, and everything done for us ready, we just had to put our signature. Something was suspicious about that. So we also know there are people doing geolocations live of people all the time. So that's what's known. And so that is going on, and that would be in contravention of the law because it's often abused. So, yep, it's definitely, there are people who have it. In fact, there's a very clear case, there's a public case where DPS had an anti-corruption unit at some stage. And when the former minister in Clego was a DG at, I think, Labour, he fell out of favor there and he went and had the anti-corruption unit at DPSA. A grabber was purchased, and that grabber was paid for by some farmers in the Free State who put up the money, and it was purchased from Israel. And it was confiscated in the confusion of coordination. In fact, General Ntlemeza confiscated it and took possession of it. Then the owners of it, the ones who paid, believe it or not, it's a weird story, went to court and NPA gave them back the grabber. So yes, people other than authorized people do have this equipment. It's a public issue. You can Google it and find it.
In closing, in terms of public interest, based on your affidavit, you made it very clear that there's criminal conduct within the South African Police Service that we know of. You said a lot of it was documented, they were named, but not acted upon.
Yep.
Some of those individuals remain in positions of authority in SAPS today.
Yep.
Are you willing to provide us tonight with names that you know of that currently still serve in SAPS and are seemingly politically connected individuals whom you believe on evidence that are involved in criminal conduct?
I'll have to think about it and look at my stuff again and write it down and get it and it's a wide question, so I'd have to look a lot for it. By the way, Honorable James, it's Ignatius Sello Manamela. He passed away. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. McBride.
Thank you so much, Honorable Cameron. Mr. McBride, you used the phrase illegal alien to describe Mr. Leon Mbangwa. Am I correct?
Yes, indeed, sir. And I looked at the Oxford definition of it.
To your knowledge, which country is Mr. Leon Mbangwa from? What is his country of origin?
Zimbabwe.
Okay. And then you said Mr. Paul O'Sullivan originates from Ireland.
Yeah, but it's true. The difference is he came documented and immigrated.
Did you say he's from Ireland?
Yeah, that's what I know. He's born there.
Which other country is he a citizen?
Probably UK, probably Russia.
And here on the continent, in which countries does he hold citizenship?
I haven't seen his documentation yet.
It's only South Africa.
No, I didn't say that. I say as many.
On the continent in which we live.
I mean, he's a South African, we know that.
You only know that he's a South African citizen.
And if you're born in Ireland, you get Irish citizenship.
So does he become a legal alien when he is in South Africa?
He's a legal alien, yes.
And then Mbangwa is illegal alien.
Let's put it nicely. Say undocumented, making use of a false ID. Maybe that's more clearer and more gentler.
Oh, that is the politeness that we were talking about earlier this morning. Okay. So, during your testimony yesterday, you say when you asked one of your officials,
yeah,
who was part of the operation that visited General Patane's house, when you asked them about the involvement of Paul O'Sullivan and probably the other person who was the occupant of the vehicle that went there, they said they were doing a white man's thing. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's what they told me, yes.
And did you want to get the details of what that white man's thing was about or what it meant?
No, they said they pushed him in front because I asked, why did you take a leading role in the process? And that's the answer they gave. And they reconciled themselves with the role he played.
And then this operation happened when you were the head of the IPIT.
Yeah, it was not an operation. It was to identify where the house is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
I
where
mean,
the house is.
At that time, you were the head of the IPIT.
Yeah, I just returned from suspension, yeah.
And then the team that went to the house of General Patane, how many people were in that team?
I think it was 2 people there at that stage.
Two from IPIT.
2 from IPIT and Paul and his partner.
And as the head of IPIT, how do you explain? You are the accounting head of the institution.
So they explain.
How you are, no, yourself as the head of IPID,
Yes.
how do you explain the involvement of members of the public in the activities or operations of your institution?
Okay, I've dealt with this before, and I'm willing to do it again. The issue was, Mr. O'Sullivan was a complainant, and he was showing, as they said to me, the crime scene, and they were going there to see it and find out as much information as possible, and to find out who is Paul's source of information in the estate.
So the answer that you give now, how do you reconcile it to the part that the chief whip read it to you in an affidavit which you deposed in court? That from what you heard was that Paul O'Sullivan was very handy, and he even went to an extent of helping members of your team to type statements. How do you reconcile that?
So apparently there was a recording of the interview, and that recording had to be transcribed. And that's the issue, that was transcribed and an accompanying statement with that. So the
Because the reason why I'm saying this is that it is written in first person. It was you deposing the affidavit saying I. You're saying it in first person. To us, you.
Who was in first person?
You.
No, that is not my statement. I was not there.
No, the affidavit the chief whip was reading.
So that's my affidavit, reporting on what others said in affidavits and in other litigation.
That's
processes.
exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes. And Honorable, so I'm going to ask you to say, don't you see this as a inordinate influence by members of the public in the work of IPID?
Some people could have that view.
Yeah?
Some people could have that view.
Because you know why we called you here?
Because of Nkabinde.
No. In our terms of reference, we are investigating public interference in the work of the law enforcement agencies. And part of the evidence that was presented before here by witness Nkabinde is that Mr. Paul O'Sullivan will come to your offices where you were the executive head and convene meetings of staff members.
No, that's not true.
And that, can I say what I want to say?
Indeed.
And that he will even have in his possession letterheads of IPID.
No, that's not true. And there's 8 other people denying that.
And that he was eventually charged for impersonating as an IPID official.
And so were the 2 investigators charged for impersonating IPID. So that's how ludicrous it is.
Okay. Where you stand yourself, having been the head of that institution, if I were going to ask your opinion about the conduct of Mr. Paul O'Sullivan in your institution or the association that your institution had with him, what would be your comment?
He provided information. If I must assess this, sometimes he overstepped the mark, but he was always put in place.
The citizens of this country who expect your institution to act impartially, when they hear these reports about somebody from far away coming to have so much bearing in your institution, what do they say about their government, the government that they voted for, when they hear that somebody from another country can come to an institution of their government?
Well, firstly, it's only Patlane and company complaining. It's not the general public. In fact, the general public come up to me every day and say something different. Paul O'Sullivan is South African citizen also. So it's not a person from another country. And he's got his papers and passport and everything. He's compliant with our law.
Can I hear you saying it here in front of the people of South Africa that there is nothing wrong he did?
I can't say that. I can't say that. As far as I'm concerned, in front of me, and from the reports I received from investigators, there's nothing wrong he did.
Can I hear you saying that the record that was read before you by Honorable James and Honorable Skosana is false?
I don't know where that comes from. So you can't just put papers here and people's conversations need to come with the proper documentation to be put before you. Nothing that I came here with is illegal.
Yeah, I don't want us to chase a blind man's path. You know, if you have had a conversation with me,
Yeah.
if somebody reminds you of that conversation, you are going to have a recollection that, yes, I remember I had this kind of a conversation at one stage. Did you ever have such conversations?
It's possible I had such a
You
conversation.
possibly could have had those conversations. You don't deny.
Conversations on banter, on teasing, I have regularly every day with people.
Okay.
But it doesn't suggest impropriety.
And the video that was played here, where Mr. Paul O'Sullivan says, states very proudly about the instructions that he had given you. Have you ever seen it before?
No, it's my first time seeing it. I don't watch social media, but indeed, it's him saying that about himself. And I testify that he is COA. He likes putting a feather in his own cap. I've testified about it. Others will tell you the same thing. He's claimed investigations that he had nothing to do with, or very little.
Have you ever at any stage during your stay at IPID found yourself in a meeting where you were plotting to abort the appointment of General Patlane as head of SAPS?
Never. That never came in. If there's evidence, the evidence must go to court. If it sticks, then so let it be. If it doesn't stick, that's it. It doesn't stick. So you follow evidence. I don't really care whether he is national commissioner or not. Doesn't matter to me.
No, I'm not talking about evidence. The evidence is you. We are asking you, have you ever been in that meeting where you were plotting?
No, that's a complete lie. And I offered for the people espousing a lie to do on TV, live, polygraph test. They backed out.
Do you know Mr. Adams, who is an honorable member of this parliament?
Yes, I know him. I've met him a few times. I exchange messages with him. I watch on his status on WhatsApp. He always got something interesting or funny to say. So I watch him. I have an interest in him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the last question, I will not ask you the questions that Honorable James and Honorable Skosana have asked you about Sarah Jane Trent.
Yes.
You
can ask if you want.
No, I'm not going to ask those questions. Let me ask you this one about the credit records.
Yeah.
Yes. Did you at any stage ask her to get your credit records of
the credit profile?
The credit profiles of people of interest to IPID?
It's possible that happened, but I don't remember doing that.
But it's possible that it could have happened.
I will use anyone to get the information legally on any matter.
And then if it has happened to obtain those credit profiles, was she contracted or was just a phone call to say, I need the following information, please help?
Ideally, it shouldn't have been necessary. IPID should have its own service to do that.
Okay, no, thank you so much. Advocate Aransa.
Honorable Chair.
Yeah.
I don't have any further questions, save to ask Mr. McBride whether the trail of WhatsApp messages or the messages, some of which have been read back to him, whether it would assist if it is made available to him. He has said, and it's still not in front of him. I think ordinarily, if it had happened to other witnesses, it would be called an ambush, that you are presented or read a document that you haven't seen before. So if it could be made available to him, whether that would assist him.
Yeah, no, that is a valid point, which I agree with you. Honorable Skosana must make that video clip available to Mr. McBride. Honorable James, the information that you have, whether it's a WhatsApp text or SMSs, please make them available to Mr. McBride so that in case he may need to respond to some of those, he is at liberty to do so. Mr. McBride, Mr. Robert John McBride, we want to thank you for having made yourself available for consultations with our legal team and eventually appearing before this ad hoc committee to have a conversation with us. Honorable members, let me thank you so much. It has been a marathon of a day today. You have once again shown your incisiveness, very robust, in a very disciplined way. And I want to thank you so much. Today, we were very spot on in terms of management of time. I never had anyone protesting or complaining when we said it was time to stop. And for that, I'm giving you a big up. Thanks very much to the council and Advocate Mkhize for the sterling work that has been done. The staff of Parliament, and we must also thank Advocate McBride for the work she's doing behind the scenes, because the locomotive moves uninterrupted, because as we deal with proceedings here, behind the scenes, they are consulting witnesses and making sure that statements are ready for the next proceedings. Thanks very much, staff of Parliament, staff of political parties. You are always on your toe to support your leaders here and make sure that they are prepared for the game. The members of the media, we want to thank you so much and remind you that tomorrow, the witness that is coming here is Mr. Julius Mukwanazi from Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Municipality. Mr. Bonani Ramano, Bavenda, Bahash, Bashangola Mtakalo, and Pilot Kwebu. From this table, I want to thank you so much. We have come to the end of the proceedings.
What time tomorrow, Chair?
Tomorrow we're starting at 11 o'clock. May you please stand up and leave the chambers.